Make your kindness conscious. I see a lot of guys in this day and age, a lot of younger guys, um, Gen Z, uh, maybe a little bit older, um, have struggled with nice guy syndrome. And the thing is, a lot of guys now are going the complete opposite direction. They're going into this red pill space, but they're doing it reactively. Almost like they're they're doing it because they feel rejected by the women that they're attracted to, and now they're running to the other side of the spectrum, this red pill space. But they're not going into this space logically. They're not going into it with eyes open. They're going into it emotionally. And that's why you have all these weird misogynistic, uh more emotional than real actually misogynistic, because these dudes don't hate women. They really love women, but they just can't get them. So you'll go in this ironically feminine emotional state with these other dudes that might either feel the same way, or guys that might be older or just know more, and they're giving game, but these younger dudes are kind of using that game to fuel their own little weird spectrum of like emotional hate that they're going through with women, which is really like a phase. And every dude has that dog phase, but it manifests differently in different guys, depending on your culture and where you from and who you are. But the point that I'm trying to illustrate is, make your kindness conscious, because you don't want to use kindness or you being nice as a way to attract a woman, or as a way to attract anyone really. Kindness should just be something that you naturally have. It should be whether you're trying to attract someone or not. Kindness is different than being nice. Nice almost insinuates that you are kind because you have to be. You're nice to your boss. You're nice to, you know what I'm saying, to your elders, even though they might be saying some wild stuff. You're nice to your grandparents when they told you a story 54 times. This is the 55th time. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nice insinuates that there's a authority figure, and you're following through with a tradition or like a social obligation. When it comes to being kind, that's something that's a masculine trait that comes from you. You should be kind because you want to be kind, and you should be able to retract that kindness at a moment's notice. Some of you guys, most of you guys, all of you guys have probably heard of Jordan Peterson and heard that whole spiel where he's like, oh, you should be a monster, this and that, and then you should learn how to control it. And that's absolutely right. That doesn't always extend to things like war and combat and conflict, even though that's a huge part of that. But those things can also be expressed in social interactions. I know guys that'll kick your head off your damn shoulders, but when it comes to interacting with women or just with other people, they don't have that same combat mentality. They don't have that same aggressive mentality. So if the conflict doesn't expand or doesn't evolve into something physical, if the conflict, the interaction stays verbal, stays social, it's not something that they can win. Again, I say that to illustrate the point that they're almost like two different levels of the same thing that you have to master. You have to be able to retract that kindness at a moment's notice, whether it's with a woman, a colleague, an associate, at work, in the street, and you have to learn how to manage your emotions. All of that, learning how to learning who to be kind to and when to take it back. Not being afraid to genuinely speak your mind, even when you feel offended. When you feel offended, you don't have to be aggressive, but you can't be afraid to let anyone know, like, this is how I feel about this. This is how I feel about you. And you have to be able to stand on that. Not just to be seen as like a stand-up guy, but also for your own mental sanity as a man. Because if you go back on your own personal morals enough times, you start to think ill of yourself. And whatever your own personal morals are, most of them you were born with, but some of them you develop over time. And a lot of people go into weird spaces in life because they unknowingly cross their own personal morals. So you have to sit, meditate, pray, do whatever you have to do to really figure out what your own personal morals is. And that can be driven by your upbringing, your parents, your dean, so many different things, but you have to figure out what those are, and you have to stand on that or do some prearranging. But yeah, that's the whole point. I'm 8 minutes in. I'm trying to make this a little bit less than 10 minutes. But yeah, make your kindness conscious. Hope that made sense to you.